I'm saving you for last.
All right, I'd like to
Good
a-
catch.
ask for a point of personal privilege. Ooh, I'm learning my Robert's rules.
And your privilege request is?
Well, being that this is a $900 million taxpayer-funded budget, I think it's worthwhile to bring out some specific points, and I have a prepared speech. I hope it's 5 minutes long, and so I will talk fast.
Such a privilege would require a suspension of the rules, which would require this to be put up to the board for, a decision. So I would have to ask the board if you are so inclined to allow Ms. Lieber a 3-minute extension on her 2-minute time. That would be my request. And I will take a voice vote. Is there anybody in objection?
Is that if we extend that to one board member, all board members are going to want the same privilege?
This is true.
May I suggest that Ms. Lieber use her first 2 minutes and then come back for a second 2 minutes in the second round?
I think that is proper. Then I would allow all other board members the option.
That's fair.
So Ms. Lieber, you have 2 minutes and then we will see how it goes. No, he's restarted.
All right,
asked
let me
for a
roll
motion
up my
of privilege.
sleeves. First of all, I do want to thank the school district. I think we are going on a fascinating path forward. However, I would like to bring up some warts. One of those is the academic freedom policy. IB emphasizes that teachers must be allowed to present all sides of a controversial issue fairly and without censorship, refraining from promoting personal opinions and causes in the classroom. Additionally, South Carolina Regulation 43-170 further requires that instructional period be age appropriate and educational suitable. I need my glasses.
Point of order,
Yes, Mr. Roberson.
does this relate to the budget?
It does.
And it's a good point of order. And how does it relate to the budget?
Mostly is the selection of some of the learning services. I think there's over $8 million on the budget. I would like to either suggest that we lower that or actually move it into different categories of online learning.
So I think the academic, the online things that you may be referring to are actually approved in the FCO, which,
Those items have all been approved by the Board of Trustees back in March when
March.
FCO was brought to the board. So that's just rolled up in the budget
Sure.
for presentation,
yeah,
but not for the board's approval at this point, as those have already been
get that.
passed
So I
for
just want
FY
to clarify that.
26.
thank you, Ms. Prentice.
For clarity, Mr. Prentice, that specifically was brought to us as a specific item and already approved.
It was.
Yes, FCO comes to the board earlier in the process for approval by the board, which allows for the implementation of a lot of projects over the summer. It includes software and other technology as well.
So with that understanding, Ms. Lieber, do you want to continue on with your statement? Because I kind of have to agree with, I don't have to kind of agree. I do agree with Ms. Roberson that if this is something that's already been approved by the board, it seems making the statement is kind of frivolous at this point.
I'm going to go ahead and continue on then. Thank you. So concerns over the shift of from paper to digital learning as students shows students comprehension printed material 6 to 8 times better, and the issue of such as an unauthorized sharing of the DBQ online material raises academic integrity concerns. Additionally, this digital transition coincides with the youth mental health crisis as highlighted by research in, my apologies, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Jonathan Hyatt, from the Anxious Generation. There has been 5 countries that have begun to transition back to paper learning: Sweden, Germany, France, China, South Korea, and the UK. I want to point out some additional things. the Gale as an online learning situation previously to the DEI order. Excuse me, currently is listed as current issues, hasn't been updated since 2021. And it contains prominent left-leaning content despite being previously banned under DEI. Sora has over my estimate of 67 books that possibly violate South Carolina Department of Education Regulation 30-170, and I can continue.
Ms. Jewett, do you have any questions?